GPS sarà.
The Asian road to Russia opens its final chapter today. A playoff to decide which side will continue to the next playoff stage. Yes, it can get a little bit complicated, but this is inadvertently round 4 of Asian World Cup qualifying in a long campaign, which gets a little longer for Australia and Syria. 4 Asian teams already through to next year's World Cup finals. Will there be a 5th Asian side in Russia next year? It's 4 more matches for either Australia or Syria in their march to the promised land of the World Cup. And will there be a happy ending to one of the most romantic stories never written about the World Cup qualifiers? Well, part 1 of the latest Syrian folklore is about to unfold here at the Hangjabak Stadium in Malacca, their designated home ground. And somehow they've managed to make this an impregnable fort in their home away from home. So far away from what is going on in Syria, but all of them following up in this fixture with huge interest, and not just them, but also a sizable crowd here in Malacca. And more importantly, of course, the world's media attention have all gone to the exploits of the Syrian side as their journey continues in their bid to qualify for the next World Cup. Well, both these teams qualified for this stage of the Asian World Cup qualifiers by virtue of differing goal differences. Australia lost out on goal difference to Saudi Arabia for automatic qualification to Russia. Syria, with their dramatic equalizer against Iran, came through ahead of Uzbekistan on goal difference to make it here. So perhaps forms and maybe their moods are a little bit contrasting heading to this fixture. Syria make 3 changes to the squad. Drew against Iran 2-2 in that dramatic fixture. Ala Al-Shibli is out, so too Firas Al-Khatib. Their places go to Youssef Khalfa and Fahad Yusuf. But the biggest miss perhaps will be their captain Ahmad Al-Sali. Well, his place is taken by Khalid Al-Mbayed. He is not available for these fixtures as we have a look at those substitutes, which includes, of course, Firas Al-Khatib and Ala Al-Shibli, both surprisingly left out of this fixture. Look out also for not just Hamid Mido, but number 19, Madek Madikian. Can be a real force coming off the bench, especially when this team needs goals. And this team has been scoring goals in this stadium at Hangjabat. In fact, they've scored 6 consecutive games now. We need the best referees for match of this magnitude, and we certainly have Asia's best. Ali Reza Fakhani of Iran is the referee for this. He's overseen 2 fixtures already involving Australia and Syria in these World Cup qualifiers, both of them against Japan, both of them lost by these 2 sides. Australia losing 2-0 to Japan and Syria by 5-0. In fact, that was the only time Australia lost with Fakhani as a referee, and that was to the Japanese in that defeat. Well, this is the Australian starting 11. 4 changes to the squad. That's a 1-2-1 against Thailand the last time out, and they've got 2 new flankers this time out in terms of their right and left full-backs in Joshua Risden and Aziz Bahij, respectively, taking the places of Tom Rogic and Alex Gerbach. There's also starting spots for Matthew Yerman, who wins his first cap ahead of Bailey Wright, and Robbie Cruz gets early 29th birthday present today as he takes the place of Tim Cahill in midfield, looking for his first goal in 23 internationals. Timmy Cahill, of course, is on the bench. What a moment this is for Ayman Al-Kim, coach of Syria. And for Ange Postecoglou, this is his 46th game in charge, the 2015 Asian Coach of the Year, after guiding his Australian Socceroos to victory in the Asian Cup. Now see himself in a playoff in order to keep alive their hopes of qualifying for Russia 2018. They've qualified for the last 3 World Cups, hoping to make it 4 in a row now, Australia. It's the first time since they've been involved in the AFC World Cup qualifiers that they failed to qualify automatically, as they come straight away looking for the jugular. Behich with his very first touch of the ball. Aaron Moy, and all things will be strung together in midfield, getting his early touch. Pitch bouncy as always. It's a bounce that has favored Syria of late, because they have certainly made full use of this pitch, and it's very unpredictable circumstances. I remember a match being played here. It was a real mud bath in Malaysia, and they did it to their fullest of their advantage and took full advantage of that game against Iran to almost scrape a win against the Iranians. Well, this Syrian side just don't know when they're beaten. It's Aaron Moy, Huddersfield player full-time this year now, and Milos Daganek asking for the ball. I don't think the ball pickers are giving him the ball at the moment. They're a little late arriving on the scene for the start of this match. The Australians wanting to just get off to a hard, fast start and build the tempo from there on. Most of their goals in these World Cup qualifying campaigns have been scored in the opening 15 minutes, and they're hoping for that as well. Juric looking to try and drill the ball inside. Goalkeeper's got to come in, he claims. Good job by Ibrahim Alma, one of the more unpredictable and controversial goalkeepers in this World Cup qualifying campaign, and one of the more unorthodox ones. This time, though, he was quick off his line, just ahead of Robbie Cruz, trying to pounce and feast on that cross, which was nervously put behind by Hadi Al-Masri. So Omar Al-Soma was a real intimidating figure up front alongside the other Omar Karbin. It's pass fit at the very last minute just to start of this match. Ball played behind the defense once again. This is a very bright start by the Australians in the opening minutes, and I think it's a free kick just outside the penalty box. Dangerous challenge being thrown inside there by Zahir Al-Midani, captain for the night. Usually plays just in front of the centre-backs, but this time, because of the absence of captain Ahmad Al-Sali, He's gone into the slot through at the left centre-back's position. He's committed a foul in a very dangerous situation because Aaron Moore is a real expert when it comes to deliveries of these set pieces and dead ball situations. And Australia have scored almost a third of their goals in these World Cup qualifiers from set piece situations. So they're hoping to profit early in this match, and I'm sure that the Syrian coach has already instructed his players not to give away silly free kicks at the periphery of the penalty box, but they've done so in the opening stages of this game. So it'll be a real sucker punch to the Syrians, who have had to soak in all their feel-good stories of this World Cup campaign. The last thing they need is to concede an early goal in this opening stages. And they won't, because there was a little bit of shoving in the back time by the debutant Matthew Yerman. One of a few centre-backs up front trying to just latch onto one of those deadly Hoy deliveries. Aaron Moy, two-time Australian Player of the Year, and Matthew Yerman, who now plays in Korea for Suwon Samsung Blue Wings. He's had a very good season in Korea. So we have a look at Ibrahim Alma. He's looking to keep his 10th clean sheet for his country in this match. Going to go a long, long ways in securing a precious result for the Syrians in this game. Omar Karbin, judged to have actually pushed off and climbed. So that'll be a free kick for the Australians. It's Mohamed Al-Mawas who is chasing down this one against Aziz Behij. That was pretty dramatic. That little push down by Behij. Ayman Hakim wasn't too happy with the treatment given by Aziz Behij. So he just went down way too easily then. I mean, it's totally unnecessary from Al-Mawas to be going down that way. The last thing you need, having had the world's media on your side, and perhaps they are, if they make it to Russia, they probably would be everybody's second favorite team in that tournament. The last thing you want is these antics to put question marks over you. Clearance by Farah Yusuf is a very good one, picked up by Aaron Moy. His ball control wasn't the best. Omar Karbin shows him how to do it as he glued it onto his pit. Sainsbury taken away from an Australian defence, which is now playing three at the back. They've done so ever since they started chalking up draws, which has really hurt them these qualifying campaigns. Too many draws in round three. Just that one defeat against Japan, and turned out to be a damning one. They built through Milos Degenek. He himself 63 games without a goal for club and country. Plays for Yokohama Marinos. Surely will be a push behind. Will be a goal kicker. After Joshua Risden tried his very best to bully the Syrians into giving possession away. Moyad Al-Ajan was trying to marshal the ball out and shepherd it into safety. Almost had it stripped away from him. It's a feel-good story that carries on right throughout with Syria, and they are 5 hours behind. It's around about 3:40 in mainland Syria at the moment, 7,500 kilometers away from Malacca. But there will be a lot of people back home watching this with a lot of interest, and hoping that these players would carry their hopes with them. Last time they came within a whiff of smelling the World Cup finals was in 1986. 85 to be precise, as they strip the ball away. It's an opportunity now as they kind of put the ball inside into a very dangerous spot. So it was that free kick. The referee's given it the way of Syria now. It's a very soft decision, but Omar Karbin certainly put himself about then. And now they have an opportunity right in front of goal. The ball inside was delicious enough, and that's a very soft free kick to give away. Perhaps a wrong decision by the referee. Certainly Milos Degenek did not believe he did anything wrong in that push against Omar Karbin. He stood his ground and didn't really use his arms much, if anything else. Both players were just shoving each other enough. Matthew Ryan, the Brighton and Hove Albion goalkeeper, organizing his wall. Is there going to be an early start this for Ayman Hakim? Omar Al-Soma, whose goal against Iran brought them to this stage. The Omar combination looking for a blistering start against the Australians. It will be Omar Al-Soma smashing this right through the Australian wall, but not through Robbie Cruz, and the last touch came off the number 10. Didn't fall kindly though for the number 14, Tamir Mohammed, who was looking to pounce. And those two players who scored those 2 goals against Iran to clinch that 2-all draw, almost finding each other inside the penalty box. Players are still inside the penalty box waiting for a good delivery, and it was not a bad one as well to the dangerous Al-Soma. So big and strong he is. And every time the ball's flung up in the air, you always sense that Syria have a chance against a big Australian defense. It has to be said that with Al-Soma there's always that opportunity that once the ball's hung up in the air forever, he will take his time and he will time it right. It's again a loose ball picked up by a Syrian. This time around, Aaron Moy does enough to get back in defense and help out. That's an attack against Yusuf Khalfa. Fahd Youssef, earning his 12th cap today. Player who plays in the Jordanian league. And this is Yusuf Khalfa, who is earning his 10th cap. Couldn't find the angle for the cross. The Australians come away with it with Robbie Cruz. Happy to play it all the way back to Yerman. His pass not strong enough to get to Moy. And that has been the hallmark of this Syrian performance so far in this World Cup campaign. It's not just the spirit, but also the legs that they have, undying, and they will close you down as soon as possible. Whenever you get the opportunity and get possession of the ball, they will close you down quickly enough, allowing you just to take a couple of touches or so before forcing you into that pass all the way back to defend. They're happy enough to allow you to keep possession of the ball and catch you on the counter-attack. It's another clear example of a player coming to help out with someone who's already committed himself defensively. Another ball played over the back of the Syrian defense. This time somehow they managed to scramble it away. Mark Milligan in his 62nd cap, given the captain's armband. He's playing in that position where previous captain is not picked this time out. Mili Yerdinak, of course, now it's injured. Moy hasn't scored for his country now, Aaron Moy, since the 29th of March. Back come the Syrians, got himself into a mix and then got out of it. That's very, very good play indeed by Yusuf Khalfa. Decided to do a little too much with it though. Fahd Youssef happy to go all the way back to Al Masri, who then plays in his captain for the night, Zahir Al Midani. Back come the Syrians after 10 minutes of play, and they've already had an opportunity with a free kick, so have the Australians, but neither goalkeeper forced to make a save yet in the opening exchanges of this first leg of the World Cup qualifiers. So I said the last time they were within a whiff of qualifying for the World Cup was the 1986 World Cup in Mexico, where they had World Cup qualifiers into its playoff stage. Offside, Tom Juric. That time it was against Iraq. They drew their home fixture 0-0 and lost the away fixture 3-1. Since then, they haven't had the opportunity at all to qualify for the last World Cup. In fact, the last World Cup qualifying campaign ended in huge disaster for the Syrian side. They actually fielded an ineligible player against Tajikistan. And despite winning home and away in that fixture, they were barred. Didn't have that opportunity, at least in that 1985 qualifiers in the playoff. They got to play a home match this time around. They haven't had a match played in Syria since the 22nd of December 2010. Not a competitive match in Syria since the 3rd of March in 2010. So their last couple of qualifying campaigns have always been away from home on neutral ground. When you talk about making lemonade out of lemons. This Syrian squad has certainly made the most out of their situation. Just thankful that they even have a chance to qualify, which is pretty decent to see. The first yellow card dished out pretty early for that two-footed challenge, and it was a heavy one as well by Khalid Al-Mbaid. Right through the back of Mark Milligan. Well, the playoffs are not unfamiliar territory to the Australians. It's the 10th time in their World Cup qualifying history that they are involved in the playoffs. They did win 3 of those. Say, goes long. You know that goalkeeper Ibrahim Alma always tries to steal a few yards ahead of his very own goal line. And Postecoglou trying to qualify for the 4th successive World Cup, this time as Asian champions. But 1974 World Cup, they did qualify via the playoffs, beating South Korea on neutral ground. 2006 World Cup, they won on penalties against Uruguay to qualify, also in the playoffs. It's running into a sea of traffic at the moment, Syria. Juric using his body well enough, held up play superbly for the Australians, which is exactly what you need of your centre forward. Sainsbury hasn't seen and played much football ever since his return to Jiangsu. Oh, Robbie Cruz has broken clear. It's living very dangerously at the back at the moment, Syria. It's just one little break in communication, and it came from the new boy Fahad Yusuf, who did not step up with the rest of his defenders, and it allowed Robbie Cruz to break away. Didn't really have the confidence to take the shot on from that distance, and in stepped tall, imposing Hadi Al-Masri. This happens to be the 10th away fixture for Australia in terms of World Cup playoffs. I can tell you that they haven't done too well away from home in their playoff history, winning only 1. And if you want to see it as glass half full, that one game that they won came on neutral ground and not at the home. One of those countries that came, of course, in 1973. They had a final match against South Korea, home and away, but both teams couldn't be separated, and they had to play a 3rd match, and that was the playoffs on neutral ground. Aaron Moy once again trying to pierce one right through the heart of the Syrian defense. They have identified already the fact that the Syrian defense isn't the biggest in terms of their aerial superiority. And they're trying to make sure that they put balls over the top, try to catch them out. They haven't been as compact in recent matches as they usually have been in the early stages of this competition. But boy, have they scored goals and thrilled crowds all around the world. Syria, there's only 1 goal in the first 5 matches for them in round 3 of these World Cup qualifiers. And then all of a sudden, they just burst into life in the second half of those round 3 matches, scoring 8 goals. 7 of those 8 goals have come in their last 3 matches. And it has been needed most. They have produced, especially this man, Omar Karbin, trying to carve across to the other Omar. Sainsbury's touch was very rusty. Twice already. Omar Al-Soma do well to keep this one in play, and he does, hooking it right back now to Alajan. Bravely in was Yerman. Ball goes back to Syria though. Their tails up, looking to spring. Australia now looking to spring on their very own counter-attack, and it's onside. It's almost a 3-on-3 break. Juric now, can he play the right pass through just ahead of Robbie Cruz, who couldn't keep pace with Tommy Juric. And really, if Cruz had just opened up his strides and accelerated just a little bit more, he would have been in perfect position to receive that pass from Tom Juric, who did everything right. The ball stolen away from Mark Milligan. He's played too hard, too fast in front of Al-Soma though. Not the best of touches second time around. But Australia have got to watch every time they want possession, every time they want time on the ball in the middle of the park. That's what's going to happen. The Syrians are just going to close them down and not give the likes of Aaron Moy time in the world to ping. Behich to Robbie Cruz. He needs a clear shot of confidence in terms of international matches. Goal scoring, as I said, hasn't scored in 23 internationals now. It's a free kick that's going to be called hard on Yusuf Kalfa. Came sliding in to challenge Mark Milligan, who's been in the boards in the opening 15 minutes of this match. That's one of the reasons why. So we have a look at that replay again. So Juric did everything right. That ball played in between those two defenders, and Robbie Cruz needed to just pick his pace up a little bit, put that extra yard of a sprint inside the box, and he would have been at perfect position to receive that pass. Aaron Moy with time now to measure this cross, and he delivers a very beautiful one just ahead of Juric though. Picked up, struck, saved quite splendidly by Ibrahim Alma. It's a save he probably had to make, because it was struck as sweetly as you get with the outside of the boots from Mark Milligan. And it was curling in until that goalkeeping intervention. So the first save of note of this match, produced by Ibrahim Alma of Syria. It's called for the ball and applauds the fact that they get it away. The Australians never really had anyone in sight. Chance for that breakout. Omar Carbin, the ball played just slightly behind him. It was a fanciful backheel which almost turned into a superb pass in the end. Breakaway is cut out by Behich. Clever, alert defending. Aaron Moy. And that's another very superb pass, but Robbie Cruz found himself in an offside position. He shouldn't have had all the time in the world to look across the back line to get himself onside. Well, Aaron Moy would usually pull the strings, and that sometimes allows the likes of Mark Milligan to come forward, pick up the loose balls, in the guise of protecting his defense. And he has been having a purple patch of goal-scoring form lately as well for the Australian national side over the last few years. Al-Soma wins another one in the year against Sainsbury. At the moment, the other Omar Carbin is playing way too far away from him to have any chance and opportunities of picking up the second ball. Moy. Behich took it down in his stride superbly. Behich spoils everything though. And a pretty poor cross when he actually had more time on the ball. Talk about a great crossfield pass. How about that? Soma, first time carrying on this run now. Chance for them to get on at the end of it. Ambayed trying to keep it alive, but the impetus of the attack totally gone. Players too far away from him. That's what he's complaining about, Ambayed. That was some pretty neat skills coming from the big number 9 and the striker-in-chief, Al-Soma. He's got such a great goal-scoring record domestically in the leagues that he's played for. In fact, over the last 5 years, the Syrian striker Omar Al-Soma has scored 101 goals in the domestic leagues he's played for. In 4 seasons in a row, he's won and been the top scorer in all the leagues he's been involved in. The Kuwaiti League, 2013-14, the last 3 seasons in the Saudi League. This run is darting, it's promising, it's taken a little bit too far away though. And in the end, Degeneg was defeated very much by the cut-up of the pitch, as he was by the pace of Yusuf Kalfa. It was enterprising and it was brave. It just didn't have the end product. It might still with this corner situation. Mahmoud Al-Mawas, player who scored in his last 2 fixtures here at the Hang Jebat Stadium. Can he set up something for Omar Al-Soma or even Omar Carbin? Shape of the ball was very good. Too many players in goal though, receiving it and clearing it. Was that offside? it was quite clearly. Great organization at the back from the Australians. They look to spring up now and open their strides. Just a little lazy from Omar Al-Soma. Scrappy in the early exchanges of this match. We expect it to be the Syrians ready for a battle. First half of the first half gone by. Goalkeeper's palms only stung once, and that was Ibrahim Almas. Fahd Youssef combining with Omar Karbin. Al-Soma getting his body ahead. As we were talking about earlier on, it's just drifted too far apart and too divorced from his other two attackers in Al-Mawas and Omar Karbin, doing just as much defensively as they are moving forward. They've almost left Omar Al-Soma alone. There is Omar Karbin. Tackled on him, refusing to give it up. And he's remonstrating with the Iranian official now, as he was fouled. To be fair though to Alireza Fakhani, who's right under his nose. A referee who really has been top of his trade in Asia. A little too early with the distribution of the ball. Needed to hold on a lot more, Tamir Muhammad. Well, his touches so far have been sublime, but as I said, not enough support moving forward. The Syrians, who, believe it or not, before the start of this World Cup campaign, they were 1 day away from forfeiting this World Cup campaign altogether because of a lack of a viable host to host their matches. Macau pulled out at the very last minute. Al-Soma just slightly offside. So I was saying Macau pulled out at the very last minute. They played a couple of home games in Iran, and then in Oman, and then Malaysia stepped in the round 3 of qualifiers to say, we will help you guys out, and they've made their base here, and they've drawn 3 and won 2 matches. In Malaysia, they haven't lost yet since they made this their new home ground. So that's the reason why this story has been so interesting for the rest of the world to follow. The fact that you have a country that is pretty much, in inverted commas, homeless, but yet the strides that they've taken, the spirit that they've shown, the odds that they've defied just to get to this stage and carry on. And that spirit is shown very much by that challenge being thrown in there by Khalid Ambayed, Omar Karbin. Once again offside, very lazy by Al-Soma. 3 times already he's been caught behind this Australian backline. And he's got to watch, be a lot more alert than that, because he knows that ball's going to always be going over the top and looking for his head. And the last thing you need is a centre forward not even giving you an opportunity by standing in an offside position. Behich down the line, and this time it's onside by Robbie Cruz. Aaron Moy trying to just instigate that attack once again by putting it right behind. Impetus of the attack though, lost. No thanks to Robbie Cruz being in an offside position. And some very, very close marking once again, pressing by the Syrian players. His midfield is totally working overtime to deny this man space. One of those big earners, of course, Aaron Moy. This Australian side playing in the Premiership for Huddersfield and being the Huddersfield Player of the Year last year. Also the current Australian Player of the Year. 2 years in a row that he's won that award. Omar Karbin putting his body about, but Mark Milligan was closing down on him very quickly enough to ensure he didn't have a free jump at it. he's always very emotional and very expression-filled, expressive. Aymar Hakim. Carbin can control it well enough. Sainsbury happy to play it back to Matthew Ryan. Aziz Behic. Yerman. Moy. Well, they've identified him as the danger man. Every time Aaron Moy has got a chance to take the ball down and play it along the ground, two Syrians just come closing down on him just as quickly enough. But Yusuf, not the best of passes by Yusuf to Mohamed Al-Mawas. Scrappy enough in this game, which certainly suits Syria. Just to frustrate the Australians a little bit. Very, very happy indeed to have this underdog tag with him. 0-0 in the first half, and only one save of note to make, with Mark Milligan's effort almost creeping into goal until that splendid diving save by Ibrahim Alma. Aaron Moy all the way out. Mark Milligan looking to use the pace. Oh, it's pulled back and slammed over the top by Matthew Leckie. It's a perfect person on the ball that they wanted, Matthew Leckie. After some spirited work down the right-hand side, thanks to Joshua Risdon. But Matthew Leckie, with a goal gaping right in front of him, all he had to do was to put it on target and make the goalkeeper work. He couldn't do it. And it couldn't have fallen to a better player, because here's a player who has scored 3 in his last 4 World Cup qualifiers. And they thought, with him behind that, that was a chance, a huge chance. Juric chasing just to make life a little difficult for Malmidani. Hasn't found it easy marking the big 1.9 meter Australian. Joshua Risdon. Well, they've used the left-hand side more than the right, but every time they've gone to Risdon, that works pretty fine enough with his willingness to just run at the defense at every given opportunity. Here he is again, Risdon. The cross, which is very deep, kept alive by the other fullback, Behic. Almost fortuitously broke for Mohamed Al-Mawas. The Australians are top scorers in Asia this year, 45 goals. As I said, it really has been lack of wins and too many draws that have cost them an automatic berth to Russia in 2018. 45 goals, by the way. It's the most that they've scored in a World Cup qualifying campaign since 2002, when they scored a staggering 73 goals. So there's always goals on the Australian side, but they always concede as well. Sometimes way too easily. Mark Milligan scored 2 goals in 22 World Cup qualifying games. So just having his boots clipped. I said he certainly has been in the wars in this campaign. We talk about him having a purple patch of goal scoring form lately. It's his 12th year as an Australian international. He's got 4 goals in the last 2 years, and only 2 in his first 9 years. So he's added that little bit of steel, and added that little bit of depth into his game in terms of finding the back of the net. Aziz Behic, player who plays for Burapspor in Turkey. This is Milligan. Back to Aziz Behic. Moy, Milligan. It works themselves intricately and well enough to get away from a couple of challenges before that ball's floated into Cruz. Couldn't do anything about it but give a thumbs up to that effort to play him in. Maybe more patience is needed, because the pattern and the way to goal then, that rhythm that they built, that was good enough in terms of their passing abilities to just spray it around the Syrian midfield. So They didn't have many options up front except for Robbie Cruz. They just held the ball on a little bit and played a few more passes. Might have been a much better ploy than just putting it one up. Just offside once again. It is that man yet again, Omar Soma. Well, whatever happens in these two-legged playoffs, his name will always go down in Syrian storytelling folklore. It's onside. Robbie Cruz this time breaking the offside trap. But it's let down by a very poor first touch. That was needed to take it in his stride instead of away from him. That's a player who's just short on confidence at the moment, Robbie Cruz. Last goal he scored for Australia came in the Asian Cup 2 years ago. And that was against Oman, 13th of January 2015. Part of his 4 international goals, and a player of his ability you feel should be scoring a lot more goals than just the 4 that he's notched so far. Al Soma climbs, almost won it. Al Soma, the ball's almost breaking for him. He gets the better of Behich to keep this alive. Still Omar Al Soma had the opportunity to bring it back, and he finally does. Almost finding the dangerous Omar Karbin, Syria's top scorer in these World Cup qualifiers, right on the edge of the 6-yard box. Omar Al Soma did well enough to put his body on the line, and then it just came all of a sudden. The cross was more out of shock than anything else. Behich didn't expect him to even drill it across. Cruz, Juric in the penalty box waiting for delivery. Not the best of balls played out by Cruz for Risden. He failed to keep it in play. The Syrians will certainly be pumped up by that effort. Zaran Moy comes in to destroy the latest attacking move, and this time was by Yusuf Kalfa. Risden, Juric. Still Juric, Lecky. Risden on the outside with acres of space. Decided to work it to the other side to Behich. Aziz Behich. Nutmeg was good. There was cover though for Syria. And very good cover indeed in the form of Tamer Mohammed. A man who is really a huge protector of this defense, and he does it with all the jealousy in the world. You look at the amount of legs and miles he goes through a football match, Tamer Mohammed. It's unbelievable. And that really encapsulates what Syria is all about, isn't it? Want that desire to just get foot on the ball and win every challenge that is being thrown in at them, and winning the free kick. That's what get the crowd pumped up, and a yellow card dished out as well to Joshua Risden. That's exactly what they need. Having been under the cosh, all of a sudden a couple of challenges being thrown in, and one very good one as well after a breakout which was superb by Al Mawas. Ball dished out to Al Bayed, and then winning the free kick from Risden. The spirit of this Syrian side is absolutely brilliant. Another offside decision given against Omar Al Soma. It's 5 already in this match against him. Lecky getting past one challenge against Syria. It's never good enough to progress towards goal. You know there'll always be someone there nipping at your heels. Within the pant away. And getting foot to ball. Omar Karbin's pass was shaped to perfection. Not so much the cross that came in though from Muayyad Al-Ajan. Omar Karbin trying to work the 1-2, which didn't turn out too clever in the end. Pass trying to eviscerate the defense was hit with not enough pace and power behind it. That one had some power, and this time Al-Soma's onside, but he's been dragged wide, and Sainsbury's been following him almost everywhere that he's gone. Trent Sainsbury's hasn't been far away from him. Fad Youssef, this time he stays onside. Al-Soma, it's a brilliant cross, and that would have been spectacular from Omar Al-Kabin. So it's twice already that the two Omars have combined. And usually it's Carbin who is trying to find a ball inside the box for the big man, but the big man's been dragged outside time and again just to ensure that he's got time and space on the ball. And twice in 5 minutes, he's found a cross inside that was dangerous enough to pick Omar Carbin in a position where he could strike at goal. Twice he's flashed it wide on Matthew Ryan's left upright. Milligan, clever ball inside to Leckie, just ahead of Cruz. Mawas. Well, what did I say about the Syrian spirits? Once again, it's been shown right there. Cruz, Milligan. This one will be easy for the goalkeeper. Clock that down is another shot on target, both by Mark Milligan. Both second one though, goalkeeper had it much easier. The ball, it's played very quickly to Al-Soma. Is that a free kick? He certainly thought he was fouled by Yerman. Referee says play on. Aaron Moy to Mark Milligan. He's just returned to Melbourne, Milligan, after his spell in the UAE. He's redefined himself from a right fullback and right centre-back to a defensive midfielder, just at the right time too, for the Australians, especially with Yerdinak out. Massimo Luongo struggling for form. Yerman back to Moy. It's more of the patient build-up that the Australians have to take with them, rather than just trying to hit them long all the time against the Syrian defense. And finally they break out and break clear. Juric finding space for himself, and that's the opening goal. Deflected in by Robbie Cruz, who'll claim it. But all of it was done by Matthew Leckie. Nothing Ibrahim Almar can do about that one. The Australians have gone ahead. Got lucky with it, but from here on, it was all skill from Leckie. Wasn't the best of finishes, but in those situations, you just slam it right across, and it's exactly what he did, and hope for fortuitous touch. His hope came true for him and Postecoglou, and Australia have got the lead thanks to Robbie Cruz and his first international goal since 13th of January 2015. Well, the Syrians have responded before to going behind. We've seen that in this World Cup qualifying campaign already. 2 goals behind might be a far stretch, but Leckie once again is trying to latch onto this ball behind the defense. Heavy touch by Risdon. But they've responded in this ground. I remember a match where they came from behind in the very last minute with almost the last kick of the game to draw 2-2 with China. And then that Iran match with virtually the last kick of the game in that match as well to draw 2-2 with Iran. Scoring 2 goals against an Iranian side who, before that, didn't even concede a goal in round 3. They became the first side to score 2 against Iran in a match in these World Cup qualifiers. So we have seen them not lie down and come right back up, Syria. This will just be another pinch. But it is a precious away goal for the Australians. Behic. Cruz once again doing the running behind. Behic uses him as a decoy. Not enough sting behind that shot to beat Almar. Easy save from him. And at the moment, if they're just going to be stringing and pulling those long balls, pumping it up front, it's going to be way too easy for the Australians to pick up on. Well, the cross was on for Juric inside the penalty box. Waiting for any sort of delivery for him to keep up with his very good form. Both him and Matthew Leckie, the players on form. There's 3 in his last 6 internationals for Tommy Juric, 3 in his last 3 World Cup qualifying games. So comes into this with goals on his side and goals in his arsenal. Leckie inadvertently clocks down for an assist for the opening goal. Moy was always looking for Behic as the target for that pass. So Behic was even fooled by his disguise then. Well, Syrians just can't wait for half-time at the moment. They look like a side got no clue how to get out of their shell and get out of their defensive mix-up. Corner for the Australians. Zahir Al-Madani could not believe it. Juric kept at it. And they have to watch now, Syria. The last thing you need is to go 2 goals down against an Australian side who've never scored more than 1 goal in a playoff away from home before in the World Cup qualifiers. Maybe this might be a first time. Aaron Moy found the head of Leckie. Timed this jump well enough, maybe a little too soon. There's Matthew Leckie. He's not just in good goal-scoring form for his club, but also in good goal-scoring form for his country and club, Hertha Berlin. He is their top scorer in the Bundesliga this year. Leckie, 4 goals already, the 5th highest scorer in this season's Bundesliga. So the Australians certainly know that they have a player who's probably at the top of his game in terms of his goal grabbing. Robbie Cruz once again breaking the offside trap. It's a little too high and too disorganized for Syria. Coach's liking. Moy now, time on the ball, and usually, you know, he carves teams open when he's got that amount of time. That time he didn't have the right amount of running ahead of him, so decides to play it and recycle it all the way to Yerman. Aziz Behic. Matthew Leckie starting to get a lot more involved in this match, especially in the second half of that first half. First 15 minutes he was pretty quiet. Just that added time, an added minute for the first half. Australia hoping to add to the only goal of the game. Omar Carbin spins away superbly from his marker, and that will be a yellow card for Milligan. When we talk about a player who comes into this match in good goal-scoring form, Omar Carbin's another one. Not just the 10 goals that he scored for Syria already in this World Cup qualifying campaign, but just a week ago he scored a hat-trick in the Asian Champions League, playing for his club side Al Hilal against Persepolis. Second highest scorer in this year's competition in the Asian Champions League, so it's another player who comes into this match on a streak, but he has missed 2 very good chances, and perhaps Syria's best 2 chances of the match. Aaron Moy does the clever thing and put it back to Risdon. Hasn't really put a foot wrong. He's been pretty safe so far, and the Australians have been pretty adventurous in this first 45 minutes and have been rewarded by the only goal of the game, scored after a superb run and cut back from Matthew Leckie, and his cross come shot is diverted into the back of the net by Robbie Cruz on his 29th birthday, scoring the only goal of the game that separates these 2 sides. The Australians certainly have had the better chances. The Syrians have attacked in sporadic moments, and their best chances have fallen to Omar Carbin, who can't convert. And they have a lot to do to get right back into this first leg of this Asian Road to Russia World Cup qualifying playoff. Syria down by 1 against Australia at the half. Welcome back to the Hangjabat Stadium in Malacca, the designated home of Syria for these World Cup qualifiers, and we are in playoff mode. Remember, the winners of these playoffs in Asia go on to meet fourth place team from CONCACAF, and the winners of that will qualify for Russia in 2018. Australia 1-0 up thanks to that number 10, Robbie Cruz, who turned in a cross shot from Matthew Leckie for the only goal of the game. But when it comes to a Syria match in World Cup qualifying, you have to stay right to the end, because the last 3 World Cup qualifying games that Syria have featured goals in added time, 90+ minutes. In fact, the last 3 home games against China, Qatar and Uzbekistan have had goals scored in the 90+ minutes. 34% of their goals in these World Cup qualifiers have been scored in the last 15 minutes of matches. We're talking about 35 goals that they've scored this time around. It's the most that they've scored in World Cup qualifying campaigns since 2002, when they got 40. And they are on a 6-game unbeaten streak, the best under their coach Ayman Hakim. The Australians haven't won away from home in 7 games already. Just 1 win in their last 6 internationals, 7 without a win away from home. The longest stretch without a win away from home since the 1995-1996 period. Just hear that Uday Abdul Jafal has come on to add some spice and some steel in the middle of the park. The number 11 hasn't scored though for the Syrians since October 2015, and he's hoping to put that right in this fixture now. So let's see if that change has a desired effect, because they have been firing blanks so far against Australia. Well, we talked about the struggles away from home. A lot of it have been draws, as we mentioned earlier on. But in this World Cup qualifying campaign, they've had 4 away victories in all. And that's the most that they've ever accrued in a World Cup qualifying campaign. They're usually so good. They live and breathe with their home form in World Cup qualifying campaigns. That's away from home. Haven't been as effective. Still, though, they play on, and their defense has been sound enough, but the Syrians haven't really been asking pertinent questions throughout this match. They have started with a lot more hunger and desire in the second half and trying to get the ball forward as soon as they have that opportunity. And here's another ball that's put over the top against an Australian defense, which has been stretched, but Trent Sainsbury in his sweeper role comes up and does exactly that, a sweep and clean. Aaron Moy will get a free kick after a high foot challenge being thrown in by the new boy, Uday Abdul Jafar. 34th cap for Uday in just the 5 goals that he scored. Here's Omar Karbin. Ball's being sprayed out. Here's an opportunity for a shot, easily palmed away and rejected and repelled by goalkeeper Matthew Ryan. And that came from Al-Mawas, who has scored in the last 2 fixtures here at the Hangjabat Stadium. He's hoping to make it 3 in a row at home. It just took a while to get it out of his feet and sort his footing out. By that time the laces weren't around already and laced up enough for that shot to have any effect on Matthew Ryan, who of course was the best goalkeeper at the last Asian Cup. Moy, goal scorer Cruz. They need just a little bit of passing rhythm just to make sure that they get their composure back, with Syria making a hot start. I'm sure Ange Postecoglou has warned his charges that the Syrians will come charging back at them. Risden to Leckie. Risden trying to just reverse that pass and keep it alive for Leckie. Omar Karbin a little too hard on that charge behind against Degenek. It's actually Milligan. The veteran has certainly put himself about in this match. probably been Australia's best player on the park. Sainsbury stepping into that challenge and intervening with consummate ease. Leckie back to Milligan. Moy once again separating himself from his markers, finding some free space. Back to Milligan. A little ball over the top, which was in very good effect throughout the game. Same uprights hit by Juric. He just can't believe it. Reaction hasn't come yet, but right now you will see it from Tommy Juric. Oh, it was a mistake from El Madani, which gave him that opportunity. And he took it brilliantly in his stride for that first one to come off the upright, and that same upright has denied him twice. Danger not over yet though. Behic to Moy. Back to Bay. Milligan asking for the ball. Instead it goes all the way back to Yerman. Robbie Cruz. Aaron Moy. Little ball over the top. Robbie Cruz had started his run early. Had to be cut out. And it was unwittingly at the end by Zahir Al-Madani. Actually, Tamir Haj Mohammed came all the way back to prevent another goal-scoring opportunity for the Australians. Well, having had that early response from Syria at the start of the second half, all of a sudden it's upright being struck twice. Has silenced the Syrians and reminded them that if they commit too many players forward, that's what is going to happen. The Australians can come at them very quickly, but here's the counter-attack now from Syria. This looks very promising if they play it right. Well, he chose to go down, and that'll be a yellow card for Milos Degenek. It was galvanized by a very quick kick out, but the moment Khalid Al-Bayed decided to go down, and everyone else was trailing behind the ball, the whole juice of the attack was blended and stopped right there. Well, they haven't really made much use of their set-piece situations so far, Syria. As I said, the spirit of the squad is undeniable. Omar Carbin! His opposite, number 7, denied that shot from coming in. It took a while to settle. That's what defeated it more than that block from Leckie. Moy, miskicking. Matthew Ryan, quick off his line. Was always in command of that situation against Carbin. Yerman out wide to Beige. Cruz. Beige once again never far away from him. Cruz thought that he had gone down the line. Really that was crowded out more than anything else. Ambayed trying to start off another attack down the right hand side with Fahad Youssef. Back to Ambayed. Clever ball. Omar Carbin. That was very neat. Very well done. Pull back though wasn't too great. It's kept alive until the Australians totally repelled it rather easily. Alajan. Ambayed. Poor pass by Ambayed. Juric though, give him credit, came all the way back to ensure that he does his defensive diligence. Milligan trying to slow everything down and asking for the ball to be played back, which it was in the end. And here certainly was the opportunity for Tommy Juric to add to the 3-3 that he scored already and make it 4-4. Upright denying him twice. Khalid Al-Bayed, master of it. That time the challenge was thrown in by Hadi Al-Masri, who had to come across to watch Tommy Juric, player who plays in the Swiss league for Luzern. And he has started the season very strongly for Luzern as well. Al-Masri, time to clear since Juric was on the ground. Moy. Risden. Lecky. Moy in front, so too Joshua Risden. Offside, was it Robbie Cruz, if he had gotten involved? Well, he's played well so far, Joshua Risden. He's be joining Perth Glory after a couple of years at Western Sydney Wanderers. It's another one of those alongside Milos Degenek and Aziz Beij, who hasn't scored for a long time already. 59 without a goal for club and country. The last time Risden scored was 28th of May 2015. Al-Mawas wants the ball back and gets it back to Al-Baid. Took too long to release that pass, although it finally found its way through to Fad. It's a poor ball that's being played, and the Australians have an opportunity to break because the Syrians had committed enough players forward. Alma. Clearance was always going to go all the way back to Matthew Ryan. Aaron Moy in that quarterback role of his. Juric using his body well enough. Let's see yet again Zahir Al-Madani refusing to give up on that chase. A poor kick out by goalkeeper Ibrahim Alma. Lecky and Beij. Cruz. That's as lucky a save as you get anywhere around the world. As Robbie Cruz got the better of the goalkeeper, who tried his very best to get out of the ace. Give him credit for it. He had that bonus of the ball that fell right on his stomach after that. Moy, clever pass to Cruz. So Robbie Cruz, it took too long before releasing that. Good enough pressing by the Australians. Uday had very little time on the ball. Omar Carbin continuing his run forward. Well watched. Superb defending by the Australians by Trent Sainsbury. Not just superb defending, but managing to keep the ball in play, did he? No. Now that's the reason why you have a sweeper in the side. Your two centre-backs will be watching and following players. You follow the player and you follow a player who is making those runs off the ball. It's a dangerous cross that's put in just ahead of Uday. Al-Mawas was there, waiting as well to feast. At least the Syrians are showing more of themselves as an offensive force than they did in the whole of the first 45 minutes, where it was very sporadic. Every now and then, the two Omars trying to combine to carve open this Australian defense, which has stayed rock solid throughout this game. Risden to Lecky. Couldn't get it through the legs of El Madani. Moy. Milligan. Once again, the Australian wing-backs trying to make it as wide as possible. This Hang Jawad Stadium pitch just allows this Syrian defense to just spread themselves pretty thin so that the runs can be made from the likes of Robbie Cruz and Matthew Lecky behind the back line. It's the reason why the ball has been played a lot over the top by the Socceroos. Good ball by Degenek, not so by Risden. Well, once again, that's the width that they have in this team. Has peeled and pulled this defense way apart. Lecky it was. Decided to take that from distance. Al-Soma does the clever thing of putting his body just ahead of his marker, making sure the ball is kept with the Eagles. Al-Madani. What a peach of a pass to Al-Soma. Slightly ahead of Omar Karbin. Didn't really appreciate that cross from Al-Soma. Moy to Cruz. Magnificent engine room being showed by the number 10 in this match. But he has gone through an error-prone fixture so far, despite the goal that he scored that separates these two sides. Uday Abdul Jaffa. He does the smart thing. Knew there wasn't much support. He didn't have a lot in the box. Didn't really have the angle as well. Why not get a second opportunity from a dead ball situation, of which he is going to be behind it. The Australians haven't kept a clean sheet in all competitions in 7 matches, so the defense can be had. Against UAE at home, the last time they kept a clean sheet, 28th of March, earlier this year. That's long. Almost finding the head of the man he certainly was aiming for. A target in the penalty box, Omar Al-Soma. That time Matthew Ryan came and totally lost the flight of the ball. Thankfully, though, marking was good enough yet again from Trent Sainsbury. Omar Karbin, he certainly is not offside, so he decided to give chase for that. Sainsbury, despite the fact that he's been pretty rusty and hasn't played much football this year, he was on loan at Inter Milan at the start of the year, didn't play much football there. Didn't play much either when he was playing for Jiangsu. Karbin. Omar Al-Soma attacks the near post. Defending superb by Degenek. Magnificent. He lost his man momentarily, and we thought that was the moment that Omar Al-Soma, in his typical centre-forward movement, stole that yard. Got right ahead, but Degenek sensed it and came in with that desperate lunge, which turned out to be such an important intervention. Syria, though, on the ascendancy with their tails up. Corner wasn't too good. Cut back inside by Tamir Haj. Couldn't do much for the likes of Al-Mawas to really get head onto it. He'll be much happier, Ayman Hakim, with the way his side have come out in this second half and responded to going behind. Australia will make their first change. It's Nikita Rukavica who will come on for Joshua Risdon. Rukavica will probably be playing high up front, and Matthew Leckie most likely going back to the right wing back role. Might be the slight switch. It's the first World Cup qualifying game for Nikita Rukavica since 12th of June 2012, when he played against Japan in a game that ended 1-1. And it's his first appearance for Australia since 15th of October 2013. Juric, Vukovic making all the running up front. As expected, he has gone right up there, switching flanks with the Robbie Cruz. And Lecky's gone to that right fullback, right wing back position. There he was taking the throw for Milligan. Vukovic right in, challenging Carbin with an unnecessary challenge on Milligan. And Aaron Moy has an opportunity in quite a central target, quite a central position. Four games without an away win in World Cup qualifying for Ange Postecoglou. Longest they've gone without a win in World Cup qualifiers since 1990 away from home. Aaron Moy does go for goal, couldn't get it over the wall. Oh, they've got two big men now, the twin towers of Juric and Vukovic to ponder on. Solid enough header out, but Moy picks up the second ball. Now Soma, somehow lucky enough that the back heel found its way through to a teammate, Omar Carbin, after the loose ball, which is easily picked up by Jurman. Player free in the middle of the park is Tamer Haj, and here's Al-Mawas. Our ball just a little too hard, way too hard, but then a push by Lecky. Can't believe it. There's a very strange decision by the referee. Muayyad Alajan got away with murder. And maybe if he made it a little less obvious, a referee might not have given it. So it was very much a winger trying to put in a shoulder charge at the wrong end of the pitch. And Syria have a lifeline with this free kick in a very dangerous position now. Did it come off the upright? It certainly felt as if it did. Australians trying to hit on the counter-attack. That's going to be a free kick for Syria. Fahd Yusuf had to win something from it, otherwise the Australians were breaking clear. First challenge was good enough, and then he was so happy. It was any sort of contact from Sainsbury, he just went down straight away, but this come off the upright. No. Protector of the near post, one of the lost arts of football. So little people putting players at the near post these days, but that's a fine example of why you still do, and why some teams still do. It saved Australia from the equalizer. Omar Carbin will be taking this, surely. Omar Carbin! The deflection took Matthew Ryan totally out of it, and it couldn't be directed into goal. Still the Syrians press. Good enough cross. And they have a second opportunity. Almost finding Ambayed at the near post. They figured putting it right into the mix will give the goalkeeper a chance. So everything's gone near post. They've asked for handball. The referee's not giving it. They're protesting a little bit too much. There's a chance for the Australians to break out right now. The pass though hit straight, fortunately enough for Syria. Almawas will be offside. Had to be a lot more attentive than he was. Massimo Luongo, latest Australian to be called, this time to take the place of Robbie Cruz. This certainly is very much a defensive replacement for Massimo Luongo, who's already got a goal this season for QPR in the English Championships. He hasn't scored for Australia in more than a year now. Last goal coming in September last year. And that certainly was a handball appeal. Oh, I tell you what, he moved on to it, and that should have been a penalty. If the referee had seen it all over again, he would have given it. Omar Karbin, clever ball! Right at the back to Almawas, just ahead of Al-Soma. Everyone thought he was the target. He probably was, and the ball was clipped a little too hard, but it almost found its way all the way through to Almawas, who was waiting to pounce and thought for all the time in the world that he could have had the ball, if not for that important header by Degenek. Oh, Syrian spirits have been lifted. Offside if he gets involved. He does, and it is offside. Omar Karbin. But with their spirits lifted, so too the volume here in the Hangjabat Stadium. This has given them confidence. It's a team effort from them. It's a team that has always been, throughout these World Cup qualifiers, unyielding, indefatigable, and undying. The character that they've shown in fighting for the flag is something that players with bigger reputations and paychecks can take with them. Talking about the Syrian squad, and a lot of them still playing inside the domestic league, and an A-grade Syrian player in the domestic league earns about 250 US a month. Sainsbury has been all over the defensive lines, making sure that everything is covered. Played well today. Omar Karbin against Yerman. Omar Karbin wanted someone inside there to gamble. Almawas looking for the angle to take away with him. Offside yet again. The likes of Karbin and Al-Soma just being a little bit more switched on in the game. Might have found some open spaces, but you got to give credit to the Australian defense because they push up at unison and push up very quickly. Here's Luongo. Lecky. Milligan. Lots of room down the left-hand side for Page. If Moy decides to look and hit his left full-back, he finally does, but it's given Syria enough time to cover. Omar Karbin chasing down, asking Al-Soma to do the likewise. Here's Milos Degenek. Almawas. Lecky chasing. Still though, Almawas with the ball. Poor pass from Almawas, so they get away with it. All because Rukovicia's header was not picked up by Juric, who didn't really expect the header to come his way. Thought Rukovicia would control it first before contemplating his next move. That's a mistake, and he got away with it that time.
Hadi Al-Masri. They've asked for a handball, but it was accidental. Referee plays on, and they've learned a lesson because they just hit one long for Omar Karbin, who does well enough to win that header. His teammates let him down though. Miscontrol in the part of Uday. He's a lucky man, isn't he? Al-Masri. Luongo. Aaron Moy. Back to Sainsbury. Probably the man of the match, Milligan. Playing it safe, keeping it simple. Yerman. They've worked themselves pretty well around the corner until that cross, which is so disappointing. Like he couldn't keep it alive. Page had gotten himself into such a promising position, but the final delivery was very poor.
Time now for Firas Mohammed Al-Khatib. Controversial, legendary figure of Syrian football. He takes the place of Al-Mawas. What will he bring to the table? Al-Khatib, 27 goals he scored for his country. He was in the wilderness for a long, long time until he was recalled and given permission for a recall for the third round of these quarterfinals. Surprised he didn't start. But he brings the threat of goals and runs behind the defense. Here's his first touch. Firas Al-Khatib almost setting it up for Omar Karbin. Needed two in the box to try to hunt in order to make anything out of that cross from Firas. Straight away he's made a difference already with his more direct approach, trying to get behind this Australian defense, who is playing a very, very high line. "15 minutes remaining, and this is the period where Syria have scored 34% of their goals in these World Cup qualifiers. Are they going to find another priceless one? Or are the Australians going to score another and really put this game out of reach before we even hit Sydney on Tuesday for the second leg? Moy. Deganek. Not the best of passes, stripped away. And here comes Al-Ajan. Firas, still Firas. Oh, it's a brilliant strike, and it came off the upright. Goalkeeper will be credited with the save, but it's so unlucky. Omar Al-Soma, everyone on the ground thought it had gone in. Everyone stood up, especially the Syrian supporters, jumping with glee. But somehow it came off goalkeeper upright and back into the arms of the goalkeeper. Omar Karbin booked. Certainly looked as if he won the ball. That's the reason why he was not too happy with the referee's decision. Oh, what an opportunity that was. Firas Al-Khatib showing us why the country's recalled him. Already 2 runs behind the Australian defense and 2 runs made out of his own enterprise, and this one was just drilled right back across. Did it cross the line in the first place? There you see the hands going up right in front of the cameras. Everyone in the ground thought that had gone in from Al-Soma. And goalkeeper
Fantastic reactions, you have to say, from Ryan in the first place, but then he needed luck, and luck was certainly on his side. Cross yet again looking for Al Soma, who's suddenly coming alive. At other moments, at the same time, ruining his ill luck and ill fortune. But the Australians have retreated into a shell. They just cannot keep the ball now, with these incessant attacks coming from Syria. A ball played too soon, perhaps. That time from Uday Abdul Jaffa. One final substitution for the Syrians as Madek Markian gets ready to come on. Brilliant defending against Nikita Rukavitsia. Lecky will be the next to be in the referee's books. He hasn't sent off anyone in his previous 10 World Cup qualifying games. Ali Reza Fagani. This match is certainly tipping over into a first ever for the official. Madek Makani comes on for Omar Karbin. Interesting figure, of course, Madek Makian. His father actually played in the UAE campaign for the 1986 World Cup qualifiers, where he went all the way into the playoffs the last time they made it this far. Firas trying to reverse it over the top. It was going to always be a hard sprint in order to keep it in play for the substitutes. Mardek scored 3 goals for his country, 2 of them coming in the space of 5 days in June, all of them in friendly matches. He's never scored for Syria, though, in a competitive game. Now will be a perfect time to break his duck as we move into the final 9 minutes of this match. And audiences who followed Syria at the Hang Jabat, as we've said at the start of the second half, are not going to be leaving too soon. They know it. 3 goals in additional time in the last 3 home matches. One final substitution perhaps for Australia now, and it will be Tommy Rogic, the Celtic player, getting ready to come on. Juric struck the same upright twice in quick succession at the start of the second half. Can't add on to the 3 that he scored in his last 3 World Cup qualifiers. He makes way. Tom for Tom. Not so much like for like. Rogic will play slightly behind. Look at Sevilla. The Australians will try to see this one out and inflict on Syria their first ever defeat in Malaysia in World Cup qualifying. Firas El-Khatib, who certainly has made a difference since his entrance, trying to instigate and start off the next wave of Syrian attacks. Mardek, that's a good enough cross. Penalty! Syria, who've had so many penalties in this World Cup qualifying campaign, already have another one. the crowd lose their minds. This was made from a substitute, brilliantly swinging one over for the big man Omar Al-Soma. Lecky perhaps a little unfortunate in getting the call against him. The referee had a clear view of that and without hesitation pointed straight to the spot. Another late goal scored in the last 15 minutes for Syria. Or is this going to be late heroics from Matthew Ryan? Their World Cup qualifying hopes on the line. Their two chief penalty takers, Al Mawas and Omar Karbin, have already been substituted. So the onus falls on the man who made this penalty, Omar Al-Soma. Back on level pegging. Syria just do not know how to give up. They just do not know how to lay down. You just cannot put a price on the human spirit. You cannot put a price on the spirit of the Syrian national football squad. Right back in it. 1-1 on the night. And another late Hangjabat adventure for Ayman Hakim. Will there be an added bonus? Al-Soma kept his nerve. Lecky, who gave away the penalty, couldn't keep his as he puts the ball out of play. Here's Firaz. Lecky stops him in his tracks, but doesn't prevent the throw. What a comeback this has been by Syria once again. The second international goal for Omar Al-Soma. And it's come in consecutive World Cup qualifiers. That might be a red card. Oh well, he wasn't one of those who was in the referee's books in the first half, so Hadi Al-Masri got away with it for that lunge on Massimo Luongo, the MVP of the 2015 Asian Cup. Aaron Moy, the mastermind behind this latest. Oh, what a save that one was by the goalkeeper. You talk about keeping it alive. It's a team effort, and Ibrahim Alma has certainly contributed to the score still being deadlocked at 1 apiece. Header from Trent Sainsbury, almost heading Australia into the next playoffs and nodding them in front until that very quick reflex save from Alma. Well, he made a spectacular sprawling save in the first half from Mark Milligan. Aside from that, he couldn't do anything about the goal, or those two Juric shots that came off the uprights. But the moment he's called into action once again, Ibrahim Alma has produced the goods. The Australian fans can't believe it. At least some of them can't. But if you've watched Syria long enough throughout this World Cup campaign, this is very believable. This is very much in line with what they have produced and shown the world during this campaign. Almost squeezing its way through to Nikita Rukavica, who was in an offside position. ever so slightly. He really had to watch because he was on the shoulder of the last man, Omar Al-Soma, whose late goal, remember, against Iran brought Syria to the stage, and whose late heroics have given them a lifeline to take back to Sydney 5 days from now. Not enough can be said about Madik Matkian's contribution as well, because it was his cross which was so inviting and so delicious for Al-Soma in the first place that set up the penalty. Lecky, who gave that away. Back to Moy. Milligan, who's never stopped running. Stripped away. Sainsbury will come on to the fore now, chasing against Firas. Took too long to release the ball, but somehow got away from his markers and still has possession of the ball. Oh, his introduction has injected some sense of belief, pace, and guile and craft into this Syrian side. Omar Al-Soma's pass neatly chested down quite spectacularly by Madik. He's found some space yet again. Omar's there, just ahead of him. It's not over yet. The shot comes in, rejected and repelled. Still alive though. Fahd Yusuf. Lecky this time unchallenged. He's mistimed his header. Firas trying to look for the angle for the shot, but closed down straight away. It finally does come, and what a brilliant save that one was by Matthew Ryan. A shot from out of nowhere by Moyad Alajan, who's only got 1 goal in his 35 caps, and he almost made it 2. 2 years after scoring his one and only goal. In spectacular fashion, matched step by step by a save just as astonishing from the goalkeeper. Here's Alajan. Wants it on his left. Did everything right in creating the angle for the cross, but just couldn't get it in. Well, he's needed in the box, isn't he? Omar Al-Soma, what's he doing here, taking the throw? He's the biggest player in the Syrian squad. I know he might have a hefty throw on him, but you need him inside there. Fahd Yusuf offside. One of the easier decisions for the assistant referee to make. Madik Matkian caught offside, coming back at least from an offside position. There we go, just a little slow. And you know what, I think he's just a little unlucky. Milligan did not push up in time. I think he was level with the defender, Mark Milligan. Anyway would do from Alan Bayed. Lecky. That was very careless from Rogic. Very careless. That was pretty. From Madik. Well, the 2 substitutes, Madik and Firas, have certainly made a huge impact in this game. Firas wants the ball now. Here he is, weaving, dancing. Rogic can't keep pace with him. It was unnecessary, taking that shot on from that distance. And he had the opportunity to keep it alive and put it on the outside to Fahd Yusuf. Fahd Yusuf does get the ball back momentarily before Luongo stepped in. Anywhere would do by Massimo Luongo. Far and away from the danger zone. Firas wins a throw. Mardik. Back to Firas. Omar in the box, waiting for a delivery which never came. And he apologizes straight away. Wasted pass, that one was by Australia. Need to be keeping the ball at this late stage of the game in added time. Added time at the Hangjabat is usually known as Syria time. Are they going to produce another late wonder goal? Offside. Omar Al-Soma. Well, he might be the real hero, putting them this far and then getting the equalizer from the penalty spot in this game, but too often tonight he has been caught offside. It's really deflating any hope of a Syrian attack being launched behind this Australian defense. It's a game in keeping with a character that Syria have shown throughout this World Cup qualifying campaign. They went behind to a strike in the first half by Robbie Cruz, and then came back strongly in the second half, earned a penalty with 5 minutes left on the clock, dispatched by Omar Al-Soma to clinch a 1-1 draw. And in between those two strikes, we had two shots off the uprights from Tommy Juric in quick succession. And of course, Soma himself having a header saved by the goalkeeper onto the uprights. The Australians now know what it feels like to be playing against a side that are undying in their spirits and have shown already that in the stadium, in front of their fans, however little and however sparse, that spirit is usually illuminated to its fullest. A 1-1 draw in the first leg of the AFC World Cup qualifying playoff, characterized yet again by Syria's character and their inability to know when they're beaten. Well, they're not beaten this time out, and they take a 1-1 draw to Sydney in 5 days' time for the second leg. Final score at the Hangjabat Stadium, Syria 1, Australia 1.